All right, this is pretty interesting, what I'm seeing here. This is from Everything Boxing. Now, I have seen him report on this. I've seen others as well hinting at this. And it's regards Joseph Parker. Now, we all know that I would love to see him versus Usyk. I think that it's a different style. I would still make Usyk favourite. I'd love to see him against Caballero, Usyk against Caballero as well. I think they're different styles, and I just think for Usyk, some of it's his fault, some of it's not. But all these rematches, albeit against the best perceived heavyweight at the time, Dubois, Joshua, and Fury, can't argue with that. I'd like to see something different in there, you know? And I think Parker Usyk will be a good fight. Now, whether we get that or not, we don't know. Joseph Parker has stated that he didn't want to be inactive. He was thinking October 25th. He said that in a recent interview, maybe a week or so ago. So he's been kind of, thinking, okay, October 25th is around about the time I'll be out next. Against who? You might be asking, well, apparently Wardley versus Parker is in play for October. It says here, this is from Everything Boxing, I'm told that a fight between interim heavyweight champions, of course, they're actually both WBA interim champion Fabio Wardley and WBO interim champion Joseph Parker, is possible for October the 25th at London's O2 Arena. A unification of interim champions. That really, how would you even sell that? Like a unification of interim titles. Are either of them champion? Well, no, but okay, yeah, you ain't selling it like that. But it doesn't need to be sold like that. That's a good fight. That's an interesting fight. Joe Parker is, well, he's on a good run of form, but we have to point it out, right? He's coming off the back of a second round knockout win over Martin Bakole. Good knockout, really good knockout, but against the guy who took the fight on basically 48 hours notice, only arrived in Saudi Arabia the day of the fight, was way out of shape, and just did, you can't look and say that was peak Bakole, that version. No, of course not. So you have to take it in context. Prior to that, he did beat Zhilei Zhang in a competitive close fight. He was down twice in that fight. And obviously, you fast forward a year later, and Zhilei Zhang goes in there against, what's his name? I just said his name, Ajay Caballero. And even though he drops Caballero, he gets handled pretty convincingly. And then prior to that, it was Wilder, who we know now is shot to bits. So, yes, you take it on a good run of form, but you take it all into context. Fabio Wardley, on the other hand, is coming off the back of a knockout win over Justice Hooney. Took his O. Boy, was he lucky that night. And I guess you can say there's no luck in it. Like, it was a great shot. He landed it. He threw it with intent of landing it. It was a good shot. But he was getting battered in that fight. He was getting beaten from pillar to post. You would struggle to give him a round. What was it, the 10th round when he knocked out Justice Hooney? I think it was the 9th or 10th round. Would struggle to give him a round in that fight. And, yeah, he didn't look good. He didn't look good, but he did pull it out of the bag. It has to be said. He pulled it out of the bag. Tremendous punch. Tremendous will Fabio Wardley has, but his limitations were really shown up there against Justice Hooney. Against Joseph Parker, I think takes a better shot than Justice Hooney. He is more defensively minded than Justice Hooney. He's a bigger puncher. Don't know, he'd probably say he is a bit physically strong. He's not the most physical guy, Joseph Parker, to be fair. Quicker hand speed. Foot speed is not really the quick. Well, it's not terribly slow, Joseph Parker, but his foot speed is not. Certainly since he's got heavier and older, it's not what it was in his younger days when he was in the 230s. But you look at Joseph Parker and you think, yeah, I'm not sure it's just as soon he's southpaw or orthodox. I think he's orthodox. It doesn't really make a difference. Well, I suppose it does, but, on the grand scheme of things. But yeah, great fight if it does happen. I don't know. I think that it's a risky fight for Joseph Parker. He'd want to be getting well paid. I'm sure Fabio Wardley would as well. It really does show Fabio Wardley has no fear in him. I mean, coming in off the back of that performance against Justice Hooney, you would think, okay, maybe you might want to maybe just get the confidence up a little high after, pulling it out of the bag in the dying moments, in the dying, rounds. No, straight back in. And if he fights Joseph Parker, I mean, what is that? That's then 2 fights with Fraser Clark for the British title. Okay, British level, no shame in that. And prior to that, David Alai, who did well, acquitted himself well, more so I should really be saying, against Filip Hrgovic than, well, most people do, to be fair. But no shame in his resume. Obviously, he was meant to be fighting Miller, ended up fighting Justice Hooney, now straight into a Parker fight potentially. This is a guy who, again, white-collar background. At white-collar boxing, no amateurs, no amateur fights, nothing. potentially going in there against Joseph Parker. And a lot of people would look at that fight and say it's competitive. The speed and the power of Fabio Wardley against Parker, who has power as well, decent chin, probably, yeah, he is the better, well, he's definitely the better boxer. It's an interesting fight. It's a really interesting fight. If this happens, because October is quite a quiet month, it has a couple of shows on the domestic scene. Obviously, it has Allen versus Arslan Makhmudov, has Boots in the States. I think that's, there is more shows, I just can't think of what it is. But that would be the highlight of October, certainly. I would love to see it. I'd love to see Joseph Parker get out, to be honest with you, because if he has to wait for Alexander Usyk, or Alexander Usyk is maybe going to get an exemption, I don't know, is he or not, but let's hypothetically say Usyk gets an exemption, he can choose to fight whoever he wants. Say he fights Tyson Fury, hypothetically speaking, then Joseph Parker has to wait. You're better off just taking a fight. You're better just fighting someone than sitting up on the shelves, because he had to do that when he beat Zhilei Zhang. He was on the shelf for basically a year. It's a good job they were actually able to get Martin Bakole, because at the end of the day, it was literally lastminute.com. He's meant to be fighting Daniel Dubois that night for a world title, so you know he shouldn't be sitting around. And I like this fight. I do. I think it's an intriguing matchup. I would be honestly, if they made it now and it was announced, I would be saying I'd have Joseph Parker winning, probably on points. Maybe no. I Fabio Wardley's tough, but just assuming he's not the biggest puncher in the world. He never really had Wardley in trouble that I remember. But I think Parker is just significantly better. He's more experienced than Fabio Wardley and Justis Huni, because Justis Huni's not really that experienced as a pro, really when you think about it. So yeah, I would have Parker winning that fight, probably on points, maybe late stoppage. Parker is hitting pretty hard these days, training with Andy Lee. So very interesting fight. Both are interim champions. What would you be? And you'd be unified interim champion by the end. Yes, there's an achievement to tell the grandkids about. But interesting fight nonetheless. If it happens, happy days. I will certainly be tuning in, probably do a live watch along for it, to be honest with you. But actually, it's in the O2. Oh, I'd have to go and either do a live watch along or I'd attend it, because if it's in the O2 is like literally, what, 10 minutes away? So why is it 2 stops on the Jubilee line? It's nothing. So yeah, I could get to that. I've been to the O2, not in the main complex, but I've been there a couple of times. It's nice. If you've never been to the O2, it's nice. I don't know what the main arena is like. I've never been in there, but just to walk around it, it's pretty nice. It's pretty crazy. Yeah, so that's the O2. So yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If we get this fight, Joe Parker versus Fabio Wardley, who do you have? Again, I think Parker, but maybe my mind will change closer to the fight. If I have a look at it on paper, maybe we'll change our mind. What do you guys think? Let me know. Hope you enjoyed it. As always, people, if you could, smash the like button. Hit subscribe, of course, as well, if you haven't already. Until next time. Peace.